Good evening. Welcome to Sunday Funday. It's time for games and Bible study. Hope everyone's doing well. Hope everyone's had a wonderful Sunday afternoon. And we're starting a new series for Sunday Funday. I know we've been kind of bouncing around the last several times we've had it. But for the month of September, we're going to be looking at this idea of upside down. I don't know if you noticed on the graphic here. Good evening, Carol. If you notice on the graphic here, the carnival ride or fair ride, whatever you want to call that, where they get strapped into the thing and then they get spun upside down. How many of y'all like those things? Anybody like the rides and stuff that turns you upside down? Looking at that ride there, that's not one that would interest me at this point. There is a time in my life when I would have probably said, yeah, that looks like fun, but that's a good while behind me now. So that just looks like something to make me sick. But we are going to be talking about living life upside down. I'm kind of excited about that because it's I think a neat way to look at some of the teachings of Jesus and how he he said he didn't give us the same answer everybody else gives. He looks at life from a different perspective. No upside down for me. Yeah, Carol, I'm with you on that. That's even the pirate ship thing where you kind of just rock up and you don't quite go upside down, but it's almost. I don't even want that anymore. Just keep me right side up as far as rides and things like that go. But I'll wait just a moment longer. It gives people time to join, and then we'll jump right in. I wasn't coughing until I started talking. All right. Well, I've got 2 minutes after, so I'm going to go ahead and jump in. Looks like it may just be me and you, Carol. I don't see anybody else on at the moment. My internet connection looks good, so I don't think that's a problem. But yeah, the good news is you have a better chance of winning the game. There's only one contestant. That contestant usually wins. So, ooh. All right. Excuse me. So, let me think through what I need to do next. All right, next we're going to jump right into the game. So the game we're going to play tonight is, and you'll see why it ties into this upside down thing again later. But we're going to play a game. Oh, hi, Will. Okay, Will's there too. All right. So we got both of y'all there. The game we're going to play is what came first, or what was first. I was real tempted to try to do the Abbott and Costello Who's on First skit here before we get into this, because that's definitely one of the, in my opinion, one of the pinnacles of entertainment television that was ever recorded. The whole Who's on First skit from Abbott and Costello. But we're not going to do that, but we are going to play which was first. And I've got your comments coming up on the screen, so people can kind of jump in. If you know the answer, tell me which one of these things was first. I also want to know, I'm going to be watching to see who answers first, but I do want correct answers. We'll see who gets the correct answer first. Maybe that'll help speed some people up so we don't have too much Googling to try to get the right answer, because we want to get the first right answer. So, all right, so which one was first? Brooklyn Bridge open to the public, Panama Canal completed, Tower Bridge, which is the big fancy bridge in London there, open to the public, or Eiffel Tower completed? Which of these was first? And Carol, if you want to give both answers, you can just tell me what's Will's answer and what's yours. If you're the one, if you are watching on one device and typing on another, that's fine. I didn't know for sure whether we'd have a lot of activity on the Sunday evening of Labor Day weekend. A lot of times we don't have evening service on Labor Day weekend anyway, just because I know people are traveling and making plans and things. But I thought it'd be kind of fun to go ahead and do this anyway, and just to see who joins. Oh, Christy's on as well. All right, so Christy's saying Eiffel Tower. Will's saying Eiffel Tower. Christy got hers in just slightly ahead, though, at least on my display here. So if Christy's right, she would be the first one there. All right, Carol, you giving an answer too, or just gonna give us Will's? I'm looking for something real quick. Hang on. I will be back in a moment. All right. Carol's going with no idea. Okay. That's incorrect. I'll go ahead and say that. The correct answer to this is the Brooklyn Bridge. The Brooklyn Bridge opened in 1883. The Eiffel Tower was completed in 1889, so just about 6 years later. The Tower Bridge there in London was completed in 1894. And while the Panama Canal was actually the first of these to be started, it started back in 1881. It wasn't completed and opened until until 1914. Sorry, I drew a blank there. It's right in front of right on the screen there. So yeah, so the Panama Canal would have started earlier, but it wasn't completed until much later than all of these, which is kind of odd that it started before any of these and yet opened up way later than any of them. So shows the enormity of that task. All right, so I'm not showing any correct answers on that one, so that means I've got some good questions here. That's what I like to stump people. All right, which was first? Make it a little easier. Two choices here: sliced bread or Betty White. Which was first? Which came first? Everybody knows Betty White. If you don't know Betty White, she's the comedian actress that was in Golden Girls. She's in a lot of other things too, which I don't know what else she would be in, but she's just kind of an iconic person. Good afternoon, Miss Judy. Good to have you on as well. Good to see you here. We're playing a game of which was first. So, getting people to make their guesses on which of these came first. All right, Carol's jumping in with sliced bread being first. So if she's correct, then she got that answer in first. Christy says to go with Betty White. I don't know if she's just going with that because he thinks that's right, or she's want to be first with the next answer in case Carol was wrong. That would be a good strategy as well, I guess. We got one answer for each in case anybody else wants to weigh in with what they think it is. All right, Will's saying Betty White. and Miss Judy said Betty White as well. And Miss Judy, Will, and Christy would be correct. Christy got that one first. I'm making a note here. Christy got that one first. Betty White's birthday is January 17th, 1922. And sliced bread, which is defined as bread that is commercially sliced into slices and packaged for resale. I realize that people probably sliced bread a long time before this. Obviously, if you had a loaf of bread, you probably sliced it up to use it. But sliced bread as something to sell was invented in 1928. There was actually a guy about 10 years earlier than that was trying to do something, had a machine he built to try to make it work, and just couldn't quite get it to do right for the commercialization of that. In 1928, they finally got that working correctly, but by then Betty White was already a good 6 years old. So yeah, older than sliced bread. Everybody heard the expression, the greatest thing since sliced bread? I think, I don't really know where that comes from, but I did read where when sliced bread was became a thing there in 1928, that they billed it as the greatest advancement in bakery ever. So I guess they were kind of billing it as the really big thing. Now you can buy your bread already sliced. So I guess that's the reason probably that people say the greatest thing since sliced bread, because it was kind of billed as this really great and grand thing. So all right, next question. Which was first, cell phones or GPS? Anybody remember which one of these came first? Don't worry, I'm not going to ask you chicken or egg on this one, because that just leads into debates. I'm going with things that have a clear date range to attach to it. So I'm not going to ask you which came first, chicken or the egg, but I will ask you which came first, cell phones or GPS. Yeah, I'm really surprised that 3 out of 4 of you got Betty White on that last one. I would not have guessed she was born before sliced bread was a thing. Carol's going with cell phones. Miss Judy's going with cell phones. Girl got her answer in slightly ahead of Miss Judy on that one, at least on my listing here. So if she's correct, then she would get it. Will's going with GPS. All right, so if he's correct, he would get it because that's the first GPS answer. We may have lost Christy. I don't know. She was feeling a little bit groggy earlier. She might have dozed off. Oh, there she is. GPS. You would have thought the military would have GPS before we got cell phones. Okay, so that's kind of the logic there. Correct answer is cell phones. So Carol got that first. Remember, I'm looking for who gets the first response for the correct answer. But yes, in 1973, Martin Cooper, who was a researcher for Motorola, he made the first ever cell phone call using a prototype that he had built. That was in 1973, the year I was born. And the first GPS satellite didn't get launched until 1978. So I'm with you, Christy. I would have thought the government and military would have had GPS as a thing way before cell phones were a thing, but apparently not. I guess the satellite technology took a little while longer to figure out. So yeah, cell phones came first in that regard. All right, now we're getting warmed up here. Give you another one with a little bit more choices here. Which of these was first? We're talking some classic TV shows here, and I realize that not everybody may have watched all of these, but these are from back in the golden days of TV. Was the Honeymooners first, Gunsmoke, Lassie, or I Love Lucy? Which was first? And when I was putting these questions together, I made my guess at this. I was wrong. So I'll just say that what I thought was the first one of these to come out was not what actually was the first to come out. So Christy's going with Honeymooners. Miss Judy's going with Gunsmoke. Will's going to go with Honeymooners. All right. So we got 2 for Honeymooners, 1 for Gunsmoke. Carol's either deciding or giving up. So one good strategy, Carol, might be to guess something nobody's guessed, because then if they're wrong, you could be the first one with that. And if not, then you wouldn't have got the credit for it anyway. Oh, Carol's going to go with Gunsmoke as well. All right. So we got 2 for Gunsmoke, 2 for Honeymooners, and the correct answer is I Love Lucy. I Love Lucy came on in 1951. It premiered on CBS, interestingly enough. I didn't know that either. I didn't realize it was a network type thing. And Lassie premiered in 1953. Gunsmoke and the Honeymooners both began in 1955. So good 4 years after I Love Lucy. So, and I'd have to say that if I had to pick out of these 4, I Love Lucy and Gunsmoke would be the 2 I would want to watch. Those are my favorites. I didn't watch a lot of the Honeymooners, so I really can't speak much to it. I've obviously heard people talk about it, say they like it. Obviously, Lassie's a good show, but Gunsmoke and I Love Lucy would win my favorites there. So nobody got credit for that one. Okay, so right now we have a 2-way tie in this, right? Christy has 1 point, Carol has 1 point. So remember, first correct answer is what I'm looking for here. All right, next question. The one kind of relevant to today's environment. Which came first, vaccines or batteries? Which do you think was first? First invented, vaccines or batteries? I went to a list of inventions for this one. So Chrissy's jumping right in saying vaccines. Okay. Chrissy just wants to make sure she's first on whichever one. That way she has a 50-50 chance of getting the points. I know how competitive Christy is. She's pretty tough to play games with. Carol's going with batteries. All right, so we have one of each so far. Anybody going to agree with one or the other? Sorry about that. All right. Not seeing any more guesses here before I give the answer. I'll keep us moving right along. Didn't want to go too fast. I don't want to give the answer right as someone's making their guess. But I guess everybody's looked at it and said, okay, somebody's already got both of the answers first, so no reason to respond. One of the downsides to the way the game is structured, I guess. Correct answer is vaccines. Miss Judy was going with vaccines. I knew as soon as I gave the answer, somebody's response would pop up. So I always have a little bit of a delay with this. Vaccines is correct. So Christy got that one in first. Vaccine, Edward Jenner used cowpox material to create a vaccine for smallpox in 1796. I almost flipped those around. And the battery, which was originally referred to as an artificial electric organ, was invented a little later by Alessandro Volta in 1800. So about 4 years later. So, yeah, vaccines predate batteries. I thought that was kind of interesting. I thought I would have guessed the other way around. I would have thought batteries had been around longer than vaccines. All right, next question. Which was born first? I went and put that in born because obviously it could point to a lot of different things in people's lives. Which was president? They're all presidents, so not which one was president first, not which one died first or anything like that. Who was born first between these four presidents? Richard Nixon, Gerald Ford. Oh, I left the word born on there. Sorry, I was trying to clarify for me that I was using born on all these. Ronald Reagan or John F. Kennedy. So which one of these do you think was born first? Richard Nixon, Gerald Ford, Ronald Reagan, or John F. Kennedy? All of which were presidents of the United States of America at one point. I expected some quick responses here to try to lock in ahead of people, but I guess everyone's kind of stopping to try to figure out, wait a minute, who was when? All right, Carol's going with Ford. Oh, and Christy went with Richard Nixon. Okay. For some reason I saw Carol's response before Christy's, even though Christy's is ahead of Carol's in the thing. All right, so Christy's got Nixon, Carol's got Ford. Excuse me. Anybody else want to venture a guess? Miss Judy's going with Ford as well. Gerald Ford. And we'll wait and see if Will has a guess here. Okay, so Will's going with Ford as well. And this one I think will surprise everybody. That's one reason I included this one. I was kind of excited about this question. Ronald Reagan was actually born the first out of all of these. Even though he was the last one to be president. He was born in 1911. Nixon and Ford were both born in 1913. Nixon was born first. His birthday is in January of that year. Ford's is in July of that year. And then JFK, obviously the younger of all them, was born in 1917. So Ronald Reagan, you almost put Reagan, Christy? Wow, okay. Yeah, when I saw it, I was looking through that list. I was like, there's no way Ronald Reagan could be older than these others, because I mean, if you look at presidents, he's the more recent president of this list. And but yeah, he was born in 1911. This reminds us that people are different ages when they become president, so you kind of have to take that into account as well. All right, so still only 3 points total so far tonight. I like it when they have like this. That means I've made some good questions here. Got some toughies for you guys. Next one, musically, what was first, the piano or the guitar? I should have put the word "the" in front of that, so it'd be the piano or the guitar, but the piano or guitar. I don't play either one very well, but I certainly play the guitar more often than I do the piano. I love to try either one, but I can actually play a song on the guitar, whereas the piano, I'm not sure I can get a whole song plunked out. So Christy's going with piano. Again, I still think Christy's strategy is just on the 50-50s, just get one out fast. All right, Carol goes with guitar. So they've locked in the first vote on each one of these. Which one was first? Now, can you imagine a world where you only had one or the other? You know, I guess when I saw this question, I was kind of like, whoa, wait a minute. I didn't think about one being, invented before the other one. I mean, you have a piano and a guitar. You need both of those, right, for a band. So All right, no other answers coming in. Miss Judy's going to go with guitar as well. All right. What about Will? He's going to go with guitar too. Okay, so Christy got piano all by herself. Everyone else is saying guitar. Carol got it in first, so she gets the points if that's right. And guitar is correct. Guitar was the earlier instrument. It was created in the 16th century, in Spain there. It's a Spanish instrument in its creation, in its inception. The piano was created roughly about 1708, so barely into the 18th century, but a good while after the guitar was invented. So I did not know that. I guess I would have thought they were both about the same age, but there's actually more than 150 years between them. So kind of interesting note there. All right, so guitar was correct, and Carol was the first one to give guitar. All right, so right now I've got a tie between Christy and Carol. So Will and Miss Judy, it's your chance to catch up right here. There's some answers here, and I think we've got enough that someone could catch up and take the leads. There's a few more here to go. All right, which was first? We're going to test your history knowledge here, your understanding of history over the years. It's not a genealogy. What do you call that? Timeline. History timeline. So, what was first? Muhammad started preaching Islam. Eric the Red settled Greenland. Attila the Hun reigned in Eastern Europe. Charlemagne crowned Holy Roman Emperor. Which of those happened first? We got four options there. You can do the letter if you want to instead of trying to type them in, or you can just type in the name or whatever is easiest for you. We got four options there, so everybody has a chance to lay claim to one as their answer if they want to. So Carol's going with Attila the Hun. Option C. Everyone else is either distracted or Googling. I'm not sure which. Carol says, Will says he can't even guess this one. Okay. Miss Judy's going to go, agrees with Carol. She's saying Eric the Red settled Greenland as the earliest of these. And Miss Judy said C. She said Attila the Hun, which is what Carol said. And Christy said B, Eric the Red. So we have two people saying Attila the Hun. Carol got that one in first, so she'll get the points if that's right. Christy's saying Eric the Red, and Will saying I don't know. And the correct answer is C. Attila the Hun reigned in Eastern Europe. So, Carol, you get another point for that, which gives you the lead, by the way. For getting that one in first, at least on my list here. So Attila the Hun reigned in Eastern and Central Europe in 434. What's the next one on the list? Muhammad started preaching Islam in 610 A.D. Charlemagne was crowned Holy Roman Emperor in 800, and Eric the Red settled Greenland in the 980s. So, just testing your ability to pull out when things happened. I wouldn't have been able to answer any of those either. Those are kind of one of those things in history. You hear about all of those, but knowing which one came first is the challenging. In fact, I have a timeline, which I haven't put out at the church yet, but I have a Bible timeline that I'm so excited about. It's a huge wall poster, and it actually takes the stories of the Bible and puts them on a timeline of the world events, and it's in a big circle because it has so much stuff to put on it. And it kind of lays out all the stuff that's happening, like that's or I guess you would say extra biblical, not non-biblical, I guess, but extra biblical, happening around the same time. So you can kind of see which things in the Bible are happening during the ruling of different rulers, and even some of the philosophers that are on there. Just kind of, to me, it's just fascinating to see how some of these things overlap. You hear history kind of in sections and chunks, and you don't always see the picture of where they overlap, but. Anyway, enough nerding on history for a moment. All right, I think I have two more questions here. So Everybody's got to get their answers in quickly. Which was first, matches or lighters? Matches or lighters? And I'm almost beginning to think that Miss Judy's at a disadvantage here because she's answering on YouTube, and I'm thinking that the YouTube comments are coming in a little bit slower than the Facebook comments. So I apologize for that, Miss Judy. That puts you at a disadvantage with the way I set the rules up for this game to give points to whoever got the correct answer first. All right, so Christy's saying matches. Carol says matches. Miss Judy says matches. And Will says matches. Okay, so everybody's kind of agreeing that it must be matches because that's the more primitive technology, right? But that would be incorrect. Someone should have at least gone with lighters just to be different from the rest of the crowd. You would have got the points for that. In 1823, Johann Wolfgang Dobereiner invented the first lighter. It wasn't until 1826, a good 3 years later, that chemist John Walker invented the friction match as we know it today. So actually lighters came before or invented before matches, which I thought was kind of interesting. Mr. You said that's all right. Yeah, sorry about that. We don't do the rules like that too often. I didn't think about it, and then as I started seeing the answers come in, I can tell that the YouTube always comes in a little bit slower. It's probably just the way that I usually restream together these comments and put them back in. It's probably just the way their thing works. All right, so who got that one first? Carol said A. Oh, nobody got that one. All right, so point for me. That's what I should have been doing, giving me points when nobody got it right. Yeah, that would have been. I'd be winning right now, I think. All right, last question. We're talking about more current things like matches and lighters. Which was first, Coke or Pepsi? Just one of those quick ones you have to kind of throw out there, see if you know which came first. Coke or Pepsi. You can also throw in which is better if you want to at the same time you're answering that. All right, Christy's going with Coke, saying it came first. But Christy didn't say which one she likes better, though. Of course, in the South, every carbonated drink is referred to as a Coke. So you can say, I like Coke. I like Pepsi Coke. I like Mountain Dew Coke. Miss Judy's going with Coke. All right, Christy likes Coke better. Okay, I think I would have known that. I have a hard time saying which one I like better between Coke and Pepsi because to me they're different enough that I like to have one or the other at different times. So I've been having a lot of Coke lately that I'll probably want a Pepsi. If I've had a lot of Pepsi lately, I'll probably want a Coke just to mix it up. But I do think they taste differently, but I enjoy both of them. So I don't know that I could pick a favorite if I had to. I guess as a brand, I'm a big Mountain Dew fan, so I guess I would fall to the Pepsi side of things in that nature. But if you go straight up between Coke and Pepsi, I'd have a hard time choosing. All right, so far everybody's guessing Coke. So, any other answers before I give us this last one? All right. Carol, I agree with you. They're both good. See, that's me. I just they're like two different drinks, and it's kind of like choosing between any two drinks. I like them both. All right, so answer is nobody's going to go with Pepsi here, I guess, which I'm guessing means everybody is agreeing that Coke came first, and everybody would be correct. Coke dates back to 1886. Pepsi, a few years later, 1893. I do find it interesting they were both in the 1800s. I would not have thought that, just outright. I would have thought probably they were more of a 1900s thing. But both of those come in just, right there at the end of the 1800s. So, all right, so, let's see. Did Christy got that one right? So, we have a tie. Christy and Carol both have 3 points. So, let me see here. And the winner is Christy and Carol. I didn't think about us ending in a tie with all those questions. I figured somebody pull away there. So, yeah, 3 points apiece. So you get to be co-champions. You each get half the trophy. And so by the time, and that's the nice thing about being a first place trophy. You cut it down the middle, and that one still looks like a one. So if it was a second place trophy and you cut it down the middle, the one side, neither side really looks like a two. So congratulations to Christy and Carol for your speed in answering these questions and what came first. And I wanted to give a trophy. I don't normally keep score and all that with our games here because that's not really the point. But tonight I wanted to, because our culture really likes giving trophies, don't we? We like having the best. We like arguing over which was the best band, which was the best movie, which is the best TV show. What's the best flavor of drink? Going back to the Coke versus Pepsi thing. What's the best food? We like to rank things. We like to have something first and something is the best, and that's just kind of our nature. We like to be first. You've never seen a award show where they give out the award for the worst movie of the year was it's always here's the best. Of course, they break it down. I don't know how in the world you can take movies and give out 100 different awards for it. But it's like here's the best movie that was premiered in the summer, but was actually about the wintertime settings. And I don't know exactly. I'm making that up, obviously, but they come with all these different categories. You can tell I don't watch those award shows either. But best daytime TV drama, best nighttime TV drama, best non-time TV drama, but we like to have winners. We like to have a competition. Everything is who's the best. I'm a big sports fan, and that's everybody's about who's the best. It's college football season, one of my favorite times of the year. And that's the whole debate all year long is whose team is best, who's going to be the best team, and obviously you're rooting for your own team and you're looking at how good they are and overlooking their faults and looking at everybody else's faults and ignoring how good they might be, and that's just kind of the fun of it. We want to know who the best is. You can only imagine if we got to the end of the college football and now they've got the playoff system. They're talking about trying to expand it to have more teams in it. What if we got to the end of the football season? Everybody said, "All right, everyone did a great job. We're not going to post a final poll. We just think everybody did great. Thanks for playing." America would lose its head. It'd be like, "What? You can't do that." There'd be endless arguing. We want a winner. We want to decide who was the best, and we want to pick 4 teams we think are some of the best and put them head to head and get them down to who won the last game. It doesn't matter. I use the football as an example, but it's everything else too. It's entertainment and all that. We like to have winners, and by default, they're losers. We like to rank things and have something be first, and that's kind of what we're talking about tonight. We're playing, what came first. Just kind of get us thinking about, this idea of we like to have winners. We like to be first. We like to be the best. And there's nothing wrong with trying to do everything we can. I mean, obviously, the Bible indicates that we are to be a good witness to other people, which would mean doing the best we can in everything that we try to do. And there's obviously benefit to doing our best at things. But the difference is what is our mission? What is our goal? If our goal is simply to be number one, to win, to be seen as the best, then sometimes that may work against us a little bit. And that's what we're going to talk about in this session of upside down. Anybody ever do this? Hang on the monkey bars and you loop your legs over the monkey bars and you hang upside down? I bet everybody on here did this at some point. Anybody? I know I did. We used to have some monkey bars when I was at school at Green Pond. There were some monkey bars out front, and they were just kind of a one level of monkey bars, but they probably had several bars on it. And we'd all get up there, loop our legs through it, just hang upside down at PE or recess or whatever, and hang. Carol, you didn't do that. You never did that. Okay, I'm surprised by that. I would have thought even that you would have done that at some point. So you had no desire to hang upside down from the monkey bars there. I thought everybody in the school hung upside down from the monkey bars at some point. But I know I did a lot. I can remember me and Larry and Jody and some of those guys just, we'd hang there for a while just talking and looking at the world upside down. And, the kids do that. It's just kind of one of the fun things. But, the interesting thing about it is no matter how fun it is, or even if you enjoy it, Christy says bust her 2 front teeth on the monkey bars in first grade. That doesn't surprise me at all. I can see Christy climbing up there and hanging upside down. And, Yeah, monkey bars are one of those not so safe toys, aren't they? But they're just so wonderful. I think it's good for kids to fall off monkey bars a little bit, so they kind of get a good feel for consequences and things. Okay, so you didn't. Yeah, that's right. You're a bit daredevil on the swing at home, but not on the monkey bars. Okay, but no matter how much you might enjoy hanging there and having fun and talking and laughing, at some point you get tired of it, right? At some point the blood starts rushing to your head, and you don't quite feel the way you did before. Everything is, it's fun to see it upside down, but you don't want to stay that way. You don't want to go through life that way. You don't want to experience everything upside down. We want things to be right side up. I mentioned that ride earlier. I no longer have a desire for them to put me on a ride and flip me upside down and make me hang up there in the air upside down anymore. It's not enjoyable for me. We might like experiencing things for a moment, but we like our world to be kind of right side up. We like to know what things look like and where they are. And so that's what we're going to be looking at this week, or this month, in each Sunday Funday. I'm titling this Upside Down. And one of the Bible verses we're going to look at every week we're going to have a different story we're looking at, but one of the Bible verses I want us to kind of carry through the whole theme is this idea in Isaiah chapter 55, verse 9, where it says, "For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts." God doesn't think like we think. God doesn't keep the score the same way we keep score. He views things with a very different perspective, and we see that in Jesus' life. And as we look through this series of living life upside down, we're going to see how Jesus kind of challenges the status quo and says, this might be how the world sees it, but I want you to see it like this. Kind of like that picture there where they got the little ball there. I love pictures of those things where they take the picture through the ball and it kind of inverts everything on the other side. And he says, I want you to kind of see that what's there, but I want you to see it in a different way. That's what we're going to be looking at when we talk about living life upside down. Passage we're going to look at tonight is Mark chapter 9, verses 33 to 37. And in this passage, it says, he came to Capernaum, talking about Jesus. And being in the house, he asked them, what was it that you disputed among yourselves by the way? But they held their peace, for by the way they disputed among themselves who should be the greatest. Now, I'm going to stop right there for a second as we go through this. I think this is one of the neatest stories that Mark chose to give us here, because it shows us the disciples, their human side, their human nature, the fact that they are a lot like the rest of us. They were Jesus in the passage right before verse 33. He just given some information about how he was going to have to suffer and die, and was explaining that his men being the Messiah wasn't going to be exactly like everybody was thinking it was. And all they could really hear in their head was they were kind of tuning all that out, and all they were really hearing was which one of us is going to be the second command? Which one of us is going to be in charge of more than the rest of them? Who's going to be the next leader behind Jesus? And apparently they were even arguing on that. And I'm sure that that there were different things that happened leading up to that kind of fostered that. Obviously, you have Peter, who was always quick to jump into things. He was the one that stepped out of the boat and walked to Jesus. That time they saw him walking on water. Peter was also the one that declared Jesus as the Messiah. But then he went on to say things that caused Jesus to say, "Get thee behind me." You have the wrong picture of what the Messiah is going to be like. And so it was kind of cut down a little bit there in terms of his enthusiasm. And then you have Peter, James, and John that went with Jesus to the Transfiguration when the other disciples were left behind, and they saw that, and Jesus even told them, "Don't tell anybody about this." And so there were these different things that had happened. I'm sure they were all kind of debating, who's going to be the greatest, who's going to be the second in charge, who's going to be the third in charge. We want to rank them all. That's how we are as humans. We like to rank things. I almost did that for the game tonight, is give you a bunch of stuff, have you rank them, but I couldn't quite figure out how to make that work with the chat and everything. But that's what we like to do. We like to figure out this was the best, this was the next best, this is the next. That's what their disciples were doing. They're going, I'm going to be second in charge, and you guys, you can be third, you can be fourth, you can be the whatever. That's what they were arguing over. And Jesus asked them, what were you talking about? They didn't want to answer. They were embarrassed to tell him what they were talking about. But Jesus already knew. And in verse 35 it says, "And he sat down and called the 12 and saith unto them, If any man desire to be first, the same shall be last of all, and servant of all." He's basically saying, you want that trophy for being number one? You want to be the one that wins it all? Then I want you to go serve other people. That'd be like telling the star athlete, you want to be the MVP of the season? Then go let some other people play. Go sit on the bench and let somebody else play. They'd be kind of like, they'd be going, what? That's not going to do that. He's saying, I want you to kind of look at this from a whole different perspective. If you want to be the greatest, then I want you to be the servant, the one that is serving other people. That's how you become a great leader. And he's challenging them here, right here. He doesn't even say anything about, I know what you were talking about or anything. He just immediately goes into talking about this. I'm sure they knew by his response here that he knew what they had been saying. And he sits them down. He says, if any man desire to be first, the same shall be last of all and servant of all. He says that's how we become great in God's economy. We serve other people. If we're trying to make ourselves number one, then we're already going the wrong direction. If we're worried about how do I look and who recognizes me and who's going to acknowledge the things I've done, then we're already moving away from what Jesus says is moving towards being the greatest. He says we've got to flip that on its head and say, okay, who can I serve this week? Who can I help out this week? Who can I be a blessing to this week? That's how we be great in God's economy. He goes on right here in verses 36 and 37 in the same quick passage while he's talking to them. It says, and he took a child and set them in the midst of them. When he had taken him in his arms, he said unto them, whosoever shall receive one of such children in my name receiveth me. Whosoever shall receive me receiveth not me, but him that sent me. You see, in their society, no one had fewer rights than a child. Children didn't have much of anything. They didn't have the right to speak and make decisions. They didn't have the right to give input on things. They were just kind of, until they reached that age where they kind of moved into adulthood, they were like the lowest class of citizen you had. I mean, not that people didn't appreciate them. Obviously, family loved the children that were in their family. But they didn't have any rights. They didn't have any authority. They didn't have any ability to do anything. They were without any status whatsoever. And that's what Jesus is trying to do. He's saying, he's looking around, he's thinking, what's the lowest status person here? The one that has the least amount of power, the least amount of ability to get something done. And he grabs a child, he brings it in, and it says he took him in his arms. I love that wording there. He hugs him. He's like, okay, this is one of my children, one of the children I've created. And he says, that when you receive this child, you're receiving me. He says, our society looks at this child as saying, well, they're nothing. They have no rights. They're not important. They're not significant yet. And he says, I look at them and say, they're all significant. That they are super important. That you need to be looking to them. In Matthew, it also tells a similar story here, which is probably the same story, but gives a little more of the comments that Jesus made. And there he talks about how even if we want to accept him as our Savior, we have to do so the same way a child would. We have to have that childlike faith, because we have to become like children in order to be able to receive him. He was challenging that status and that idea of who was important. In their society, people were important if they had power, meaning they had some sort of government leadership or some sort of position that gave them the ability to be in charge of something, or if they had money. And if you didn't have either of those things, then you were, your status went down. And people rarely were able to move from one status to the other based on what they were born into. And a lot of people would hope that that when the kingdom came, when Christ came, when the Messiah came, that their status would be changed. They didn't see any other way out of where they were at. And they kind of viewed this hierarchy of, well, these are important people, and these are the medium importance people, and these are the non-important people, and then there's the children down here. You just say, I'm tossing all that on its head. I'm going to start at the bottom and say, whoever you think is the least important, that's the one that matters the most to me. Whoever thinks they're the greatest, they're the ones I'm not so worried about. And until we start serving others, then we're not getting towards what he's describing as becoming the greatest. That's living life upside down. It's saying, yeah, our world values winning. Our world values being great, being known, being rich, being powerful. All the same things they valued back then. Jesus is saying, let's be different. Let's don't worry about all that. Instead, let's worry about serving one another, helping one another, finding someone to say, who can I be a blessing to right now, and with what God's given me and what he's had me doing right now. That's my challenge to you this week. Live life upside down. Be a servant to someone. Go out and find someone that you can be a blessing to, and pursue doing that in Jesus' name. He says if we do that, then we're moving towards greatness. We're greater than winning any award, than winning any sports championship, greater than winning any entertainment award for best actor or director or whatever. Greater than all that, we're moving towards it where Jesus says, look at my beloved child in whom I'm well pleased. Yeah, Miss Judy says this whole world is upside down. That's right. And Jesus is saying he wants us to be the opposite of that. He wants us to flip that on its head and that upside down idea. Yeah, I love this picture because it's upside down. All we see the city skyscape there in the lower part, and we see the reflection in the water as the upper part. And sometimes there's some clarity in seeing things upside down and seeing things a little bit differently. And that's what Jesus wants us to do. So that's my challenge to you this week. Live life upside down. Hope you have a wonderful Labor Day tomorrow. Hope you get the chance to relax and do something fun. And we'll be talking more this month about living life upside down and some of the things Jesus challenges us to do. But I love you all, and I guess I will talk to you later. If you need me for anything, don't hesitate to reach out to me, and we will talk again next week. Thank you.